So onto the sources of opportunities. As I sort of alluded to earlier on, there are quite a lot out there, and it can be pretty bewildering for first-time entrants. But do come to any of the panelists from InvestNI and talk to us about what might be best for you. Some are geographic, some are sector specific. As you see there on the slide, Procure Scotland, Sail to Wales, and you'll all be aware of the NI one as well. So just try and identify the ones that are going to be right for you, and look for our guidance. That's what we're here for. But just thinking about who you're targeting might be interesting as well. Central government, you want to look at Crown Commercial Service, Contracts Finder, the OJEU, and then department specific sites: defence, education, health, justice. Then on to local government. It's worth being aware that central government, while they may be in the press all the time about the opportunities that are out there, they're not often the biggest spenders. Just last week, there were 1,500 odd notices put out by 784 buyers. The total value of that was £36.5 billion. 32% of that was less than £100,000 per contract, and a third of them were posted by local government. Birmingham City Council, Cumbria County Council were the top two buyers, and in amongst that was 75 frameworks. So don't always think that central government is the be all and end all. Local government can often be a good place to start out. So for local government contracts, you've got Contracts Finder, the OJEU, Government Opportunities Magazine, and specialist sites for government consortia. You may have seen on the previous slide there, London Buying Consortium and organisations like that. And then there are the specific devolved government sites: Public Contracts Scotland, Sail to Wales, eSourcing and eTenders NI. And then there are commercial sites that tend to be aggregators. They will often trawl through all of the previously mentioned sites and pull them together for you. Tracker Intelligence is one that myself and Barry use. There are other commercial ones out there, Tenders Direct and some others, B2B tenders. There's also a platform called Compete4, which organisations like TfL, a lot of the blue light services, High Speed 2 are committed to using, that will also provide you with details of Tier 2, Tier 3, Tier 4 contracts. When it was first founded for London 2012, there actually ended up being an opportunity for an ice cream van on Compete4, but we'll maybe touch on that a little bit later on. So there, and then over to Jenny.
Thanks, Nick. So as Nick mentioned, there are a variety of different sources for tenders, and later Mandy from our Business Information Centre will talk through the Tender Alert Service, which is a service that InvestNI clients can subscribe to and pulls from a variety of sources. So in this presentation, we've decided to do a deep dive on Contracts Finder, which is accessible to anybody for free, and so it's a good starting point. So first of all, what is it? It's an online government portal which aggregates information about contracts from central government or agencies like the Cabinet Office, DWP, HMRC, the wider public sector like standards bodies, universities, local authorities and NHS trusts. It includes contracts that are above £10,000 for central government authorities and contracts that are above £25,000 for other public body authorities. So for example, I was talking to a client the other day. They were looking for contracts issued by local councils or universities in GB around the £25,000 mark. So this is actually, Contracts Finder is a great starting point and an aggregator site where they can sign up to receive alerts, and they don't have to search every individual council or university procurement page. If you're looking for below 25,000, then you will need to do that. There are, however, as Nick mentioned earlier, aggregator sites, for example, London Tenders Portal, where the councils have grouped together to make it easier for suppliers to subscribe. And just a few caveats there, what might be excluded. So as we mentioned, smaller contracts, procurement from schools, academies, sixth form colleges, NHS, healthcare services are excluded on that. They have a separate site. And also the devolved central authorities. So Nick mentioned earlier, Public Contracts Scotland, CELTA Wales, and as you all know, eTenders NI. Okay, so moving on to the next slide. Oops. How Invest Northern Ireland can help. Okay, oops, gone too far. Just going to go back up again. There we go. So what kind of opportunities are you going to see on Contracts Finder? So we wanted to talk you through the key types of posts you'll see on the site. Not everybody is familiar with this terminology. If you are already, please bear with me. But here we go. So you might see something called an early engagement. This basically helps buyers to understand what's out in the market, and it's actually a good thing. Rather than a procurement team sitting there trying to imagine what solutions are available, this is actually a really good thing for them to go out to the market and just ask suppliers to come forward and say, how would you solve this? And what can you do? So I would absolutely encourage people to look for these and to engage in these. So what else do we see? Future opportunity. Now, this is also otherwise known as a pre-information notification, and it's useful to read these and if possible to register for them. Sometimes they have a webinar or Q&A opportunity for the buyer before the contract comes out. So they might host a webinar offering Q&A to potential suppliers before it comes out. And then opportunity, this is when the contract is active and it's out and you can apply for that. Okay. The other two things that you might see are DPS, Dynamic Purchasing Systems, or frameworks. Now, a DPS is something that suppliers can join at any time. There is no direct award of contracts. Pricing is determined at the contract award stage. An unlimited number of suppliers may join. So why join? Basically, it just makes it easier for the buyer to find you, and it gives them a route to access you. Again, I was talking to a client a couple of weeks ago. They were talking with a public sector body who was interested in their product, and one of the first things they did was to point them to the relevant DPS site. Next is frameworks. These can be quite important for certain sectors because buyers sometimes award directly through the frameworks, and some opportunities are pushed out to companies, only companies that are on the frameworks, and suppliers can only join within a set application window time frame. So if they miss it, they'll have to wait for the period of the framework, which might be 2 years for some of the tech frameworks or 5 years for other sectors. And Barry will refer to some of these later in his section, which will be good to hear sort of firsthand how he tackles those. And then I just want to mention that on frameworks, it's not a done deal. You can't sort of apply to a framework and just sit back. It's often a minimum requirement, but you do also then need to sell to the buying authorities that you're targeting. Okay, next slide. How Invest Northern Ireland can help. Okay, so we have a central London hub that pre-COVID was open to clients with VC, printing and meeting spaces. It's now reconfigured to meet COVID requirements, and we hope to open very soon to clients on a restricted capacity basis. The office runs on a membership model, and inquiries can go to london@investni.com. And if anybody's interested in that, we'll keep you updated on how things progress with the latest restrictions, etc. Okay, that's a bit more on the London hub there. And coming to the next slide. Okay, working with the GB team. So we just wanted to cover our operating model here and how we interact with clients. So on a day-to-day basis, we engage with our networks in GB. So the more that we understand about your product, your unique selling point, your solution, your target sectors, what you're trying to achieve in market, the better able we can look out for opportunities for you. So in short, just please share with us what you're doing. It's a two-way dialogue, and that's sort of how. So please do reach out to us.